Hi, David.
Hi.
Hi. Um, I'm Latino. Latinos are fans of your action films. Obviously, you know, because you maintain that classic action touch. How do you do it?
Just a lot of work, but a lot of the films I grew up on, like in the 80s and the 90s and those classic action movies. So it's just doing what works, I think, and then adding my own touch.
And this time, you also have the story that also wins us over when it comes to family and loyalty and having someone's back. Can you talk a little about the writing process with Stallone?
Yeah, I mean, Stallone adapted the book, and it was like an honor to be able to work with him because, he's someone I grew up with and loved his movies, and he's such a part of cinema history. So the opportunity came to do this, and it just made sense. And then, he had like a great action story in the script based on the Chuck Dixon book. And then for me, it was about adding like that family layer and really making that family come alive. And there's something really warm about Jason, and especially when you put him in that environment. So seeing him as a dad, seeing him, as this adopted member of this big family, it really worked for the character. It really worked for him.
Speaking of Jason, what was the scene inside the bar, at the back of the bar, with so much action going on? And
Yeah, that was a tough one to shoot because it was a tiny room. It was a really small room, and I'm holding the camera in there. It was like working in a sauna. This huge fight in a very small space, and it came out really well. Normally you're supposed to stage things in like a much bigger room, but that's part of the fun for me and the challenge of it, and you can really feel it in the visuals.
as I watched, I was like, no way, no way, it's too small.
That's it. But it's a good opportunity to bounce people off the ceiling and the walls.
Now, can we talk a little bit about Arianna Rivas' character as Jenny? She was never looked or seemed like a victim. She was very strong.
Yeah, that was important for me. This idea, she comes from this really strong, loving family, with like a really strong mom and a dad that really loves her. And, that idea of like the family pride and where she comes from and never forgetting that and always wanting to be a good daughter no matter what. And I never wanted her to feel like a victim. And so often in these movies, you know, it's like the main event, which is the person that gets abducted. They kind of are treated like a victim and kind of forgotten about. And I just wanted her to be inspiration for other young women that you can always fight back. You can always be strong in any circumstance.
And going back with Jason, since I have a little more time, you've worked with him several times. Does it get easier? You probably read each other's mind at this point.
Yeah, just about. I mean, it doesn't get easier because making a movie is really, really hard work. And it's like a grind. I mean, you show up every day and it's long hours and a lot of work. It's easy because he trusts me and I trust him. And I know what he can do and I know how capable he is. So he just shows up and makes me look good as a director.
You guys work so well together. That's why you're creating this beautiful magic of action. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations.
But thank you.